Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening, everybody. This is Angy Stewart from INNERLIGHT, live on Kardec Radio. It's always a pleasure to be here Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time to continue our studies. We have had so many different studies, but this one is really good. It's What is Spiritism? This is a small book, very powerful book. And unfortunately, not many people think it's important. You know, the people who are already spiritists, they think, oh, I already know what it is. I really don't need it. And it's sad because the teachings here are very powerful to the ones that are already spiritists, the ones who already understand it, but it gives you a solid base to be able to have conversations with people that are against or with people that have legitimate questions because they are trying to understand what it is. But unfortunately, not a lot of people think it's important. I feel sad about that. But our friends who actually are not spiritists yet, this is also a great source of learning because they understand since the beginning. They understand how the movement started, who is Allan Kardec, how the books were created, when, why. So all these questions were answered in this little book. So continue our study because it's very short. It's only 20 minutes. Then we jump to the God at home. We have to be quick so we can actually deliver one chapter at a time. This particular chapter is very big. It's very big. Let me see how many pages. 1 second. I never remember to do this. Okay, we are connected now. So 2, 4, 6, 5. So this particular chapter is very big. It's 5 pages. Usually it's 2 pages long. So let's see if we can do the most possible, if we can do at least like half. And whatever we can't, we continue next week. So I will be sharing with you my book, and you will be able to read and follow. And if you are here, if you have questions, if you would like to know something, please let us know. Just write your message, write your question or your comment, then I will be able to read and we can talk about it. If your names are here, I cannot see your names because I'm not actually on YouTube, neither on Facebook. But let's go. So the title is The Origin of Modern Spiritist Ideas. So the visitor is the person that wants to understand more about the Spiritism. And usually this visitor in this chapter, they are trying to find ways to understand better Spiritism. But they think certain things are good, certain things are important, and many times Kardec is basically saying, no, we don't need that, or we have been doing this in a different way. So it's good for us to see how he thought about it. So basically the question is, modern Spiritist ideas, are they really spontaneous revelations by the spirits, or are they the result of prior belief in their existence? So this is the question. Are these ideas something that results from a previous belief, or this is really something spontaneous that is happening right now? So then Kardec answers. If Spiritism had been founded on preconceived thought of existence of spirits, it could be a preconceived idea. Doubt their reality. So it's saying if Spiritism was like this, so you could doubt it, but it is not. It is not founded like that. So he continues. Spirits are a cause and not an effect. When we see an effect, we can look for the cause, but it is not natural to imagine a cause before having the effects. This is interesting for us to think. So the spirits are the cause, not the effect. So people think, for example, something is moving, something broke in the house, and nobody knows how. And imagine there is no wind, nothing shaking. So how that thing moves? So someone could imagine it could be a spirit that moved this, just like for example. But this would be the cause. So the spirits are the cause. So the spirits made the effect of moving a lamp or breaking a lamp. So this is for us to understand, not the contrary. The lamp broke because of the spirits, not the contrary. So this is for us to think, to try to understand the reasoning of Kardec. So rather than spirits have been a preconceived idea, we started from materialistic point of view. And since this point of view was unable to explain everything, observation alone led to the spiritist related cause. So why Kardec is talking about the materialistic point of view? Because this was his point of view. He was a scientist, very much connected with science, and he didn't believe in something just for believing, but he tried to understand and to disprove something. So he is saying it is started from a materialistic point of view, and then trying to disprove it. That's when he starts like understanding what was going on. So the belief in spirits is as old as the world itself. It is true. We know since the Egyptian civilization that the initiated people from Egypt already understood about life after death. That's exactly why when a pharaoh was buried, he was buried with all his very expensive utensils and with his personal slaves, because they believed his body died but soon will be waking up in the other side of the life and will need to be helped by his personal slaves. So imagine how tough was to be a slave of a pharaoh. You had to die with your master. And we know that many times they were buried alive in the tomb. You know, they put the body, the coffin, and all the utensils in the tomb, and they sealed it forever. Not a easy death. Not that there is a death that's easier than the other, but just imagine that. Ooh, it's hard. So the spontaneous phenomena, such as strange noises, raps, movements of objects, etc., were produced without an ostensible cause and under the influence of certain persons. So these were the things that were happening in the past. So in the past, people start trying to understand what was that, what was the noises on the wall. But you know, we have noises nowadays, but as we always say, you have to try to understand the maximum to disprove it. For example, just because you hear noises on the wall, don't imagine and assume it's they are spirits, because it could be mice, it could be anything. So after you try anything and you cannot identify, then you can imagine the possibility of spirits. But this is how it is started in the past. People are trying to understand, and that's when all these phenomena start happening intensively. So it didn't take long to realize an intentional and intelligent character in these noises and movements from which was deduced, as I have already stated, that if every effect has a cause, every intelligent effect must have an intelligent cause. So why Kardec is talking about it? He's talking about it if we go back to the beginning of the Spiritist movement in America that we already studied here. It happened in New York State with three little kids. And these little kids, they were able, these three girls, they were able to create a mechanism to talk to a spirit. So they basically did one knock, yes, two knocks, no, and then they were able to establish a communication, and that's how everything started, and it moved from New York State to Europe through these knocks confirming yes or no, very very basic in the beginning, and then they start establishing different ways to actually create the whole alphabet. But this is for us to understand an intelligent effect has to have an intelligent cause. And then continue. The idea of spirits was not a priori, nor was it an even a posteriori. In other words, it did not come from the mind, but was given by the spirits themselves. And everything we have learned about them ever since has been taught to us by the spirit themselves. So this is really good. This is for us to really understand that the Kardec did not create Spiritism. He did not invent Spiritism. It's different than for example, Moses. It's different from Jesus. Jesus brought the teachings himself. He brought the teachings for us. Kardec did not have the teachings. Kardec was an instrument to be able to organize the teachings that were brought by the spirits through mediums. So the spirits, the mediums, and then Kardec. So this point is very important for us to understand, because a lot of people that have a very small knowledge about spiritism, they always think Kardec created or Kardec invented spiritism, but it was not like that. The spirits brought the teachings through the mediums, and Kardec organized it in different chapters, in different books, by subject. So Kardec was this beautiful organizer, because this is a very difficult job to be done. So once the existence of spirits was revealed and the means of communicating with them established, we were able to have continual conversations with them and to obtain information about their nature, the conditions, and their existence and their role in the visible world. So here Kardec is saying that once he was able to discover how to talk to the spirits, he was just managing what to talk to them, what type of questions to talk to them. And through this, he learned that there were different classes of spirits. Spirits that are very, very elevated, spirits that are more or less like us, and spirits that are more heavy, more negative, that have like a more difficulties in any sense, morally or intellectually. So this is very beautiful for us to understand. And then continue here. Some believe spirits were superior in every way, whereas others saw them only as demons. This is exactly what I have just mentioned. So imagine in the time of Kardec, in the 1800s, in the middle of the 1800s. In that time, people already spoke about spirits, because spirits is something that people always spoke about. But there were the people that when you talk about the spirits, when anything is different, is out of the way, they immediately think this is from God directly. So they start thinking if there are spirits, they are angels. So that's what they had. Certain people had this idea. Every spirit, an angel. But then there was the other group that was actually the opposite. If this is not human, if this is from a spirit, or meaning it's not somebody alive, but it's like alive in a different plan. So this is from the devil. So these were the extremes. Or is an angel or is a devil. When it was spoken about spirits. And Kardec started to understand very quickly that's not true. There are angels, there are difficult spirits, and there are spirits that are still connected with a lot of hatred, a lot of negative ideas and feelings. But none of the less, they are not demons per se. When we talk about demons, we immediately think about that the figure of the movies, the red man with the horns, like something horrific. And it's actually not like that. So some said good things, whereas others were noticed for their cynicism of their speech. So here you can already see the difference. Some spirits said good things, others were cynic. Process that we discern every degree of goodness and wickedness, ignorance and knowledge among them. Once enlightened about their thoughts and qualities, it fell to our own judiciousness to distinguish the good from the evil. So here Kardec is explaining that soon he was able to understand there were good, there were more or less, and there were very, very difficult spirits. So he quickly understood they were very different. We learn from the spirits themselves that some are very happy and others unhappy. Souls of those who used to live on the earth where they had their corporeal envelope behind. So here he is saying that these souls that were saying some were happy and some unhappy, they just were spirits like us that were living here on earth and discarnated, and they are in the spiritual realm. So he started understanding, oh, they are not from other planets. They are people like me. They also lived here. And then let me see if it's to finalize. Yes, finalizing. That's great. They have an envelope to which we gave the name perispirit, or a sort of fluidic, vaporous, diaphanous body that is indivisible in the normal state, but which in certain cases and by a kind of condensation or molecular arrangement can become momentarily visible and even tangible. Hence, the phenomena of apparitions and the ability to touch them were explained. This envelope exists throughout the life of the body. It is the link between the spirit and the matter. When the body dies, the soul or spirit. So, this is talking about the perispirit. So, perispirit is basically a copy, perfect copy of our physical body. So, this is Angela, and there is a second Angela transparent, and it is called the perispirit. And the spirit per se is just like energy. So, the spirit doesn't have a shape, doesn't have a form. That's why the perispirit is so important. It connects the spirit with the physical body. And whenever we damage our perispirit, for example, when someone commits suicide, and let's imagine someone jumped from a building, it made the perispirit suffer that impact. So immediately the perispirit gets smaller, get like concentrated, gets like in a different format of his normal format because that person damaged it. This is why when that person will reincarnate, most of the time, the perispirit will need to have one or many reincarnations to be able to regenerate itself. This is what, like, for example, many times nanism, when a person is born very, very small, most of the time, that person in one of their past lives committed suicide by jumping from a building. But as we say in Spiritism, we can never say every single time because it's not like that all the time. A person can have requested to go through that very difficult test because maybe the person made somebody else to commit this act. So that's why we can't say that it was imposed to every single person. It's important for us to understand. But this envelope called the perispirit is the one that can be condensated and we all can see that spirit. This is basically what Jesus did. So when the people say that Jesus resurrected from the dead, for us, spiritists, means that Jesus materialized himself. He made himself visible to everybody, not just to the mediums, but to everybody. And now, just to finalize the last sentences. Such is the story of Spiritism in few words. Everything concerning it is the result of observation and not of a preconceived theory. So, very beautiful. As we know, Kardec, his way of thinking, it's amazing. So Kardec is able to help us to understand step by step that he went through in 5 pages to be able to codify spiritism. This is like really amazing. So very good. Let's bring our guests for our second part of the study. Hello, Claudinha. How are
Hello.
you?
Good, good. How are you today?
Very good. Nice to have you here. Another Thursday night.
Yes. It's so
That's
good to be here.
very good. Very good. And here's Teresa. Hello, Teresa. How are you?
I am well. Hello, Angie. Thanks. It's good to be here again. I
Nice to
always enjoy your
see you.
studies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, long time I
Yeah.
haven't seen you. Very nice to have you here with us. And if you are arriving right now, this is the second part of our study. We do the God at Home. That's when we started this beautiful book, the Gospel according to Spiritism. So we studied together. So most of the Spiritist persons, they usually choose one day a week for a certain amount of time, and they repeat every single week. They do a little study in their home with their family. But we already explained in many, many sessions ago that if you live alone or if other family members they don't want to do it, it's okay. You can continue doing by yourself because we are never alone anyway. So the spirits will be with us. And when we are doing something good, we will attract something good. But yes, of course, many, many persons, because of the pandemic, they end up alone in their homes. And then they start doing the God at Home with family members in Brazil via internet or with us. So if you do it by yourself, change your day to do Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time so we can always do it together. And then you're not going to say, oh, I'm alone. No, you have always two great people to be doing with you. Two, no, three. I'm here too. I'm here too. Very good. So just to start, well, everybody knows Claudinha and Teresa have been here many times. So I'm so happy to have you both again with us. Hello, Matthew. How are you doing? Long time I haven't seen you either. So let's go. Let's start. So Claudine, could you please read for us
Sure,
our little page of happy life?
sure. So today's message says, keep your thoughts in a wholesome and optimistic rhythm. The mind is a powerful dynamo. According to how you think, you will attract similar vibratory responses. Is it vibratory? Vibratory.
Vibratory, yes.
Vibratory. Those who cultivate sickness always become sick. Those who persevere in health always overcome infirmities. Think rightly, and God will inspire you to find the best solutions. And uplifting good thought is an unspoken prayer that never goes unheard.
Very good, very good. That's what we were just commenting. Like when you do when you do good, you will attract goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing your God at home, you will be attracting spirits that want to learn, that want to help you, that want to participate.
Our
But the
mind is very
contrary,
powerful, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's why we have to police ourselves because when we are not very good, our mind start like woo. Our thoughts start getting very negative, very difficult, and then to come up again, it requires a lot of effort. So that's when we have to have conscience that why I'm thinking like that. Let me stop and let me pray. So then you are able to recover and feel good again. So yes, our thoughts are like whew, really quick and strong. So let's move on. Let's start our gospel. So Teresa, could you do our initial prayer,
Sure.
please?
Okay. Let's relax our bodies and connect with our bodies. Mother, Father, God, and all our spiritual mentors, we ask for your guidance and protection as we enter into this study. Please open our hearts and minds that we may be receptive to the lessons and the knowledge we are about to be exposed to. And we welcome all who have joined us this evening. Let us visualize joining hands, raising our hearts, our thoughts, so we may assimilate the best message possible. And with a blessing and your guidance, we ask permission to begin this study. And so be it.
So be
So
it.
be it. Very good. Thank you. Let's go. So tonight we are going to be continue our study from the chapter 28. Many are called, but few are chosen. And we will be starting. Wait, and I'm the correct
18.
place? And I'm the correct place? No, I'm
Chapter
not.
18.
Why did I do that? Oh, I guess I did another study.
Too many studies.
Too
Yeah.
many studies, too many studies. So I marked my book to other study. But okay, is chapter 18, and we will be doing the narrow door. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, the narrow door, and we will also do not all who say Lord, Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven. And I believe that's it.
That's it.
Good. So let's go. So, as I always do, I will read a little piece and then we will be able to comment it. So, enter through the narrow door, for the door to perdition is wide, and the path leading to it is broad, and there are many who enter through it. How small is the door of life? How narrow is the path that leads to it? And how few there are who find it. Wow, that's good. That's very good. So, what can we start talking about it?
Well, of course, Kardec comments first. And, he says, well, we are still, the earth is still a planet of expiation. So there's still more ignorance and evil predominant than good. So it only makes sense that the road to perdition is going to be visited more frequently. But the good news is, as we regenerate and the world regenerates, that more people will choose the good. So that's a hopeful message.
Yes.
It's very interesting because he also is, Kardec is such a mastermind. Out of this, he is able to deduce that it is also confirming reincarnation, because there's, the idea that we only have one chance and it's only this one lifetime, and once we're dead, that's it. It goes contrary to the attributes of God, who is all good and just, and that would not be just. So, I think that's a beautiful, principle that he brings out of this parable that Jesus said to the people. So, that's Kardec's comment on it, and also it confirms the plurality of worlds, of other worlds as well. So it's a little bit more hopeful than when we just read it from the New Testament. It can be like, oh boy, I hope I'm running that narrow line and the narrow path, but there's it, so it's not encouraging us to like, oh, you got time, do whatever, but it's how is the world going to regenerate? It's by us regenerating and us choosing good, and and as there's more of us choosing that, we're going to find more good around in the world. The world is going to become a place of regeneration. So it's really through us. It's not that the world's going to regenerate and then we're going to walk into it. That path is going to become wider and then we're going to step into it. As we step into it, the path will become wider. So
it is true.
Right now to choose good.
Yep.
Yeah, it is true. Just before Claudina comments, I think I already said this story a few times, but when I was very young, I was very rebellious in church, and my whole family is Catholic, so I had to do. I don't really know what's the name in English, but when you are around 10, 11, you have to go to church, and you have to study. How do you call that?
Well, it's either catechism or
yes, catechism. So I had to study a lot, and I didn't understand, and I asked thousands of questions. I drove the poor priest crazy. And one of the things was that, like, I remember he talking about heaven, and it seemed that all the kids really enjoyed heaven, and I was the only dark sheep that did not like heaven. So I'm like, I don't want to go to heaven. I want to go to the purgatory. I don't even know how I was not punished that day, because he was like, what? But in my mind, in my childish mind, the heaven was very boring. It was just that the music, like, with the angels and jumping from one cloud to another cloud, and very boring. So I don't like this. It's too boring. And then he said, but do you want to burn in hell? I'm like, no, this is too much. But the purgatory is kind of middle ground. But this is because I did not understand. I was a child, and sometimes the whatever beliefs we have they can't be really well explained. And of course, depends of your age, depends of your background. But I am sure the kids that are spiritists, they have this idea much better than I had. And whenever I asked the priest to explain, he didn't know how to explain. He just said, "You are a good child, so you are forced to go to heaven." I'm like,
But I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. So this is like, it's funny, but when I think, I'm like, wow, that's like a, similar to what you're saying in certain ways, like a lack of understanding is so important that we are able to understand it. And this is one of the wonderful things that Kardec brings to us, is his comments in the parables. And sometimes you kind of understand the parable, but you're like, "Ooh, really? Maybe it's this, maybe it's that." And then when you read, you're like, aha. So it's like that the doors just open, and you're like, okay. So this is
And
something
every time you
personified.
read, every time you learn, it's different. You learn a
Yes,
little bit more because
yes,
it comes matured. Like you grow. Your thoughts are different from one time to the other. So
yes.
and
That
but I
that's
think
true.
Teresa explained so well. Her comment was very
Yes,
very. I mean, it's very easy to understand.
yes.
The only thing that I would like to say is that today we started to think, we started to see that there is a lot of
My dog wants to be a spiritist lecturer. Please go away. Sorry.
no, that's okay. What I was gonna say is that today we, although we are still in the this world of atonement, and
Trials and
trials,
expiations.
and
Yes.
we already see a lot of good in it. There are a lot of people doing good,
Yes.
doing charity, and getting together to do good things. So we start seeing those things. I don't know if because we already started open our eyes to look at those things. I don't know if that's the reason why we already see it, or because the world is changing.
Yes. I
Yeah,
believe it's both.
yeah.
There is a lot of beautiful things happening, but as we always mention, media, it doesn't sell. Good
No,
things
it doesn't.
don't sell. Like if you put a building on fire and people falling, everybody stops and like,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the newspapers, all the TVs will be showing that. But if we put a group of people distributing food to homeless, it's rare, very, very rare it will go to a TV. It usually goes to specific channels, like when a program has like 10 minutes dedicated for something good. But we don't have this in national media showing everywhere. What is very sad, but it's
It's
good
true.
for us that we already know good things are
Yeah.
happening everywhere. And with more and more and more time, better things will start coming. And the people are going to be like us. They will want to see it. So in the future, people will not want to see just horrible things, but they will want to see good things too
Mhm.
all the time. So this is something really, really good and encouraging to the future, because our planet is
It's
changing
changing.
into the regeneration, really. And I know a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I don't know how you believe it's becoming a regeneration, because we only see worse and worse things. In the past, everything was so much better. In the 1800s, you could do this. In 1900s, you could do that." But it's not true. If we go back into history and you really study what happened in the 1800s, in the 1700s, you will see horrible things happen. And the more or less it was like, okay to happen. It had to happen. And we know that nowadays it will be impossible for the same thing to happen without a huge craziness in the world. So we are advancing, and we have also to understand that nowadays, many times there are few reasons here. We have to talk about them. Nowadays, internet brings us whatever is happening in little Sudan. Boom! 2 minutes later, somewhere put on
Too
internet,
fast.
everybody sees it. In the 1700s, no, horrible atrocities happened, and the most of the planet didn't even know that. And another thing we have to understand, the enlightened spirits already told us, is the planet Earth is regenerating, and then all the spirits that are in the basement of Earth, in the umbral, in the lower zones of Earth, they will need to come back to reincarnate for the last time. So lots of spirits that are very tough, they are very negative, they never really learned how to improve themselves, are incarnated right now. And unfortunately, some of them couldn't change. And yes, they are committing atrocities. And whenever they die, they will not going to be allowed to reincarnate on Earth. So this is what the spirits are saying, that a lot of turmoil will happen on Earth because of the regeneration. So to become good, the basement has to be clean. It's almost like when you were selling your house. If you want a good price, this house has to be clean. Your basement has to be clean. If your basement is full of dirtiness, lots of boxes, it's going to be more difficult for you to sell that house. So basically, that's this understanding. And it's very hard for us to see so many horrible things happening. So it could be an addition of all those factors. Internet brings quickly, very difficult spirits are incarnated right now, taking bad choices, but hopefully some of them are making right choices, and they will be able to come back again and improve still on Earth. So it's like, in general, it's very positive. In general, we are making improvements.
I think that the message in the beginning, it says about being positive and your mind being
connected
to the good.
Yeah.
So it's very connected to what we're talking about now.
Yes.
That's interesting, because once I attended a study in person before COVID, and that is what the person leading the study said, is that the narrow door is a state of mind. And it's really, when you think about it, basically it is, because where is your mind? Where your mind is where your thought, your energy, your vibration. So, but I think it's also important to say, Angie, that these spirits, sure, they won't be able to come back, but it's not because they're being punished. It's just good for us to remember it's the affinity. And so if the vibration is higher because of the goodness that prevails here, they just won't have the affinity to come back. And so they'll go to another place where they will continue to progress.
Yes, that's very good to
that
compliment.
God is just in total love and in totally true justice. Also, I just want to point out that it used to always bother me when I would read these about the gnashing of teeth. I was like, oh, that's really good. Gnashing teeth. But I read somewhere that really what this is symbolizing is because oftentimes even when people are on their deathbed, even before they discarnate, they start to realize how much time they've wasted, and they have regrets. And this is what that is alluding to, that gnashing of the teeth, the regretting that, I wasted time. I wish I would have done blah, blah, blah. And usually it's like, I wish I would have done more good.
Yeah.
So I thought that was it's an important thing
So
to.
this is the
Yeah.
time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the time. But you know, the other thing, I was thinking about it, standing in the grocery store line, checking out. You know, even if you look at the magazines that you see now at the checkout, I mean, you still have your Inquirer and stuff like that, but you're beginning to see what are the front pages, you know, yoga classes, gluten-free recipes, you know, so
Yeah.
even those is
Yes.
at a higher level,
Uh-huh.
you know, than what you used to see. It used, you know, advertising cigarettes or whatever. It's a
Yes.
different, yeah. So we are in many ways. I mean, again, like we're always being told to look to nature,
Mm-hmm.
is really, you know, open our eyes and look around us. I remember one day I was in a drugstore like CVS, Walgreens, and I was standing there and I was thinking, I don't know what, I was buying something, but I paid attention and there were like 5 good things that happened right in a row. Someone opened the door for someone else. Someone said, the man was leaving the store and he asked the cashier if he could go buy her a coffee. I mean, I was like, wow, you know, but I really had to be
Uh-huh.
present and clue in to the goodness.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like everything else, you see it if you look for it. So what are we looking for? You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
a good question to
It's
ask
true.
ourselves. Are we
It's
looking for
true.
the narrow door or are we looking for that wide path?
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. Everything is connected also with our own choices. You know, we are
Mm-hmm.
making choices all the time, every minute, even our thoughts. Like when we see something negative and something positive, which one you give more attention, which one you
Mm.
focus more. You are making a choice right there. So, yeah, we are always like this. Our state of mind is always there. What you choose is a glass. Is it full of water or is a half full or is half empty? This is
Yeah.
we making decisions all the time. So let's go to the other point. The other point is not all those who say Lord, Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven. This is also really, really good. So just the little portion is like this, the beginning. Not all who say, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Only those who have done the will of my Father who is in heaven will enter. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons in your name? And did we not perform many miracles in your name? And I will tell them clearly, away from me, you who have done deeds of iniquity. So, what can we talk about it?
Claudia gets to go first.
Oh. Um, uh, well, I think we have to not just to say. I mean, we're studying. Okay, we're studying here. It's not just to study and to read and to get the knowledge. We have to also to act
Mhm.
good things. It's not like today we are here, the three of us, and then we each one goes away and start doing bad things and just it's like the vase,
Yeah.
very clean outside, but inside it's not the same. And so that's what I think. If we are in this path, we have to to open our hearts and to follow it. It's not
Mhm.
to, I don't know how to explain.
No,
But
it
yeah.
yeah, you are totally true. It's just before Teresa goes, there is always that example of the speaker who knows the whole Bible by memory. Every sentence, every chapter,
But the
every
attitude and the
versicle.
action is
But as
not.
soon as he leaves his church, temple, whatever, he does not know how to practice. He does not know how to be charitable. So he knows how to say, but he doesn't know how to do it, how to
Like the
act.
Pharisees, they have prayers on their lips and not in their hearts.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
I was thinking about in, I think it's Boanova in Good News, where Jesus talks to Nicodemus, and Nicodemus says, "I've studied and studied. I believe you're the Messiah, but where is this kingdom? How do I get there?"
Yes, yes,
And Jesus says, "It's not enough to know it. We have to feel it in our heart,
hmm
practice it. We need to live it." And that's pretty much, part of Jesus's, coming was to point out to these Pharisees who were really the ones that it was their responsibility to share this
yeah,
knowledge with the people, and they didn't. And they, instead the pride and the ego and, look how great we are, and they wanted this
yes,
power. And so, Jesus was, quick to point out, this is not the way. This is
yes,
not my kingdom. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. This is very, very powerful. So let me see something else. What else can we complement?
Like this I remember once I had a person that asked me, why do you guys, you spiritists like to go out and do good things and do charity? uh, what is the feeling? What do you feel by doing those things? And I said, well, why don't you come and you see what,
To practice.
yeah, why don't you come and you see for yourself? And then one day we had an activity in the center that I used to go in Brazil. And so he decided to go. And then at the end, he said, but I didn't feel anything. And I said, well, that's the point. You have to feel it.
Mm.
Now, because, it's not the thing of doing charity, is the your heart, what you put in the action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's what you feel with doing by doing it. And
Yes.
and that's what I think that it is related to what we're studying here.
Right. I think,
Yes.
and here's the issue is it's a paradigm shift. Instead of saying, well, what am I going to get by doing this? It's
Mm-hmm.
rather, how can I give? What can I bring? What can I
Yes.
give? Instead of, well, what am I going to get out of it? It's
Yeah.
it's turning that away from that me, my, and mine, and going
Yes.
to the other centered, other
Mm-hmm.
person centered. And I think, if one isn't really focused on the higher ground, so to speak, looking
Mm-hmm.
up, then it doesn't make sense. Like, why would I do this? What's in
Yeah.
it for me? So it's really a paradigm shift for
Yeah.
the way that we've been living on Earth.
No, it is. It's amazing. But coming back to this person that didn't feel anything doing charity,
Uh-huh.
what we always tell people is that maybe in the beginning you are not gonna feel it, but do it anyway,
Yeah.
because one day you
Mm-hmm.
will feel it. And a lot of people used to tell me, like, I have been doing the nursing home performances for 15 years, some long, long time in New York. And here in Miami, we did once and then COVID. But I'm trying to do this year again. So maybe we're going to be able to do this year again. And a lot of people say, oh, no, no, I don't like to go to nursing homes. Everybody's so sick. They're all close to death. I'm like, no, no, no. Don't say that, because you are creating a wall for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Come anyway, and this blockage will change. And I always told them, maybe for you to start visiting by yourself is difficult because you don't know what to do. Go in a group.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody could escape the performance, because I always said, this is your moment to shine, because they will be so happy to be there. You will feel different. It will be a very different day. And from that day, then they connect. They like one person, they like another, and then they decided to come with us. once a month, maybe start coming more and more. But we all can do so much. And I have to tell a personal experience, because my experience, you all learn with my mistakes, and I'm learning too. So I used to dance in Brazil, yeah. So I did some performances, and then when I start doing the performances, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm gonna dance everything. So I start creating all kinds of dances. And I remember one of my first dances was like a samba performance. So I created a choreography. I had a friend that she also was a samba dancer, and she was a professional. So she had that huge thing, and then she had all kinds of big things. And of course, we were not in bikinis to not kill anyone. But we danced, and it was really beautiful. And when we finished, I'm expecting like claps, and was dead silence. So I remember, like, I'm like, my God, what happened? And I'm like,
What happened?
okay. And then we kind of laughed. And then I was like, my goodness, what happened? But what happened is that my state of mind was expecting that type of applause.
Mm-hmm.
I was like giving, but I wanted to receive
Expecting in
immediately.
return.
And I wanted to receive in my way.
Mhm.
Anyway, so another few people came. They also did other things. They sang, whatever. When the show finished, that specific presentation, we had the flowers to everybody. So we started giving a flower to each elderly person that was there. And I remember one lady, I gave her the flower. She grabbed my hand with all her strength. She grabbed my hand, and she was like shaking. She couldn't talk much. And she just said, thank you.
Wow.
You are princess. I was like,
Oh.
at that moment, like my applause didn't happen. So I was like more normal. But when she told me that, like a woo, wake up call again. You know, they had their way of, first of all, their way of understanding. Some of them cannot even express themselves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't. But that one that could almost, not much, it was so powerful. It was like a wave of love coming to me. I felt all her love, and I was like, that's it. I'm not gonna come here for applauses. I'm coming here to do good and to make someone smile. And they always made us to feel like Broadway. Whatever you did, they thought we were fantastic. So when we do something, we receive so much, but we have to be open-minded to understand that their ways are different, and that we really have to learn to do good and not to expect something to receive something back. This is something that we are still learning. We're still in the process of learning, but it's always good when we can do something, and with the time we get better and better, and then we start doing it because we love it, not because we want to feel good or to feel something like this person told you. But it's always a blessing. It's
I
always
think
a blessing.
there's time for everyone.
Yes.
It was just not his time yet.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
planted a seed, Claudia.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Exactly. We are always planting the seeds, and they will germinate
Mm-hmm.
sometime. We don't know when, but they will. They will. So this is good. And I'm so happy Claudinha loves to do charitable things. So you are hired to our next nursing home performance. Teresa, if you live here, I hire you too.
That would be good.
Girls, it was really nice. 10 o'clock arrived. Thank you so much. A blessing. So let's do our final prayer
Mhm.
so we can irradiate some good vibrations. And when we finish, Teresa, wait for us so we can talk for a little bit.
Okay.
So let's elevate our thoughts. Give thanks to all the good spirits that are still here with us. Thank you so much for these positive vibrations. Thank you so much for the conversation, for all the thoughts we were able to put together. Thank you to our guardian angels. And at this moment, we would like to take these good vibrations to send to all our friends, to our family, whatever they are, so they can also benefit from it. If they had like a stressful day, so they can relax, they can have a good night's sleep. If they are sick during the night, they can receive the visit of our doctors and nurses. And if they have a merit for it, they can be totally free from this problem and they can wake up good again. And we would like to send these loving vibrations to all the places in our beautiful planet that are still going through pain, any type of issues. If there are diseases, or if there is lack of food, or if there is lack of love, whatever needs light, we would like the good spirits to be able to provide, even if just a little hope for a better day. We would like to be able to join the efforts of the enlightened spirits to do this good work tonight. When we go to sleep, we voluntarily would like to be able to go with them, donating whatever we can, knowing that we can't do much, but we are willing to do a little bit day by day and a little bit more every time we do good. So at this time, we would like to ask for all these good spirits that were here with us to be able to continue with us through the night and help all of us to continue this study and to continue improving our morality, being a better person day by day. Thank you. So be it.
So be it.
Very good, my friends. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Thank you, Claudinha. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Teresa.
Thank
And
you.
I hope to see you all next week. Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night,
Bye-bye.
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Bye.